Okay, so the situation is this. Went through a lot of trouble trying to figure out why this damn ECU wouldn't work. And then I put the one that was in the car back on here and it didn't work either. And I started saying like, what? Did I corrupt it with a bad firmware? Like what the hell's going on? Come to find out. Hey everyone. I unfortunately forgot to record an intro to this, so please enjoy this quick time lapse and then we'll get into the action. Hey there, so here we are. We just finished untaping everything after the repaint of the engine bay. It looks amazing. I absolutely love SEM paint. If you've never used this stuff before, it is easily the best black paint I have ever used. SEM Products Trim Black. It's actually made for plastic, which is, you know, it's whatever. It probably helps the adhesion. But no matter how bad I try to screw this stuff up, it always lays down flat. It always looks really good. And it's just like the perfect flat black. Like, you know, some flat blacks you get, they're like a little too flat. Some are a little bit shiny. This stuff, love it. Looks great in there. What we're gonna do now is I took the coils off of both sides of the engine bay and we are going to slap them on the motor and we're gonna fire this thing up again and just make sure that the coil, or the cold cylinder situation is fixed. Most likely it's gonna be fine, but I'm gonna put the extension harnesses on there too. Sorry about my appearance. I have been just working hard for you. So I'm gonna put the coil harness extension and everything on there, just like it would be running the car. And if that works out, then we're gonna we might try putting the blower on there. I need to put it on there anyways because
You just wink at me?
I bought a steam vent kit that I'm gonna have to make myself. So basically once I put the blower on, I can route everything. I want it to look nice. That's gonna take a little time, but once I get that on there, I might as well just fire it up with the blower on. I don't necessarily have to put all the belts on, just kind of a run the injector situation just to see how it is. So that's probably the next steps. So I'll put you on time lapse and we'll get to it. See ya. Forgot to update you when this thing arrived. My Magnum showed up. So it looks perfect, even though the shipping box was absolutely mangled. There's a plug that they send from the factory, a little plastic one that just jams in the tail housing. It was absolutely shattered and I had to kind of pick it out of the tail housing seal. I put the bell housing on the old transmission just to see how everything fit up. But there it is, it shifts fine, everything looks good. We got the Sonax chromoly output flange, which, you know, it's a really nice piece, pretty expensive, but going fast is expensive. So that's cool. It's a 31 spline, whereas this one I think is like a 27 or 26. As I was talking about, I got a steam vent kit. I'm gonna use the adapters from the kit. I got it off Amazon for like 50 bucks. And then it came with rubber hose, which I think is what this stuff is here. I got the PTFE and it came with all the adapters and everything, so you can kind of, you know, run 90s or straights. But once I get the blower on here, you really can't get to these back ports. So I have to route all this correctly and then throw it on there before I put the supercharger on. And I'm just not willing to worry about these back lines blowing off. PTFE is just like the best that you can buy, that you can assemble yourself. The only thing better would be going to, you know, a shop and having them crimp them on with like a, you know, $5,000 tool. So PTFE is gonna be the choice. And I gotta get the front ones done and the back ones and then make it look nice because, you know, that's kind of how I like things. So we'll get to it. Okay, so this is Terminator X that I picked up used. Supposed to have worked, came with a brand new wiring harness and everything for like half price. So I just threw a new startup tune in it. Hopefully we don't have any issues with that, but it's kind of a test for the ECU as well. But the thing I've changed on the motor is my coil packs, as you saw me install. So that's the only thing we've changed. It's just my wires and my coil packs and extension harness. So that's kind of a test of all this to make sure this is working good. Assuming all that goes okay, during this test we're gonna temp out the cylinder, make sure this is good, do all the other ones just to be sure. And if that's good, we're gonna move on to the next step. So we're gonna make some noise and let you know how it goes. And this is a new microphone as well. I'm hoping that this all sounds okay. I've never used it before, so we will see together. Let me find my temperature probe. No RPM signal. That'll do it. Why do we not have an RPM signal? Still not getting any RPM. Okay. Alright, let's try this again here. If this doesn't work, I'm going to try the other computer. And if that works, then I got screwed. Okay. Alright, here's my original computer. This already has the correct bass tune-up here, so it should just start right up. Should. Might. Could. Well, it'll start right up if the computer was the problem. Yeah, it's like reading everything. The other one wasn't reading. What? Okay. Okay, so something's going on with that other computer. This cylinder came up to temperature. This one, they all read about the same, a little under 300. So I don't think the issue is the coils. I just think it was a wiring issue in the car. Okay, we're back. So a lot has changed, as you've seen. I made the steam vent lines with the new PTFE lines that I bought. Had to do some modifications, did a lot of thinking. I wanted them run a particular way. Didn't have all the adapters and stuff that I needed, so I kind of compromised on how it runs. The only thing I don't like is that this one runs on top, but I think it'll be fine. So then I put the supercharger on permanently, at least, you know, for this test. So this is gonna test the injectors. There's a new injector harness which doesn't have adapters, which, you know, it's from Holley, it should work fine. This is the computer that I know works. The other one, I'm gonna have to contact Holley and see what's going on with that. Yeah, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna reprogram it for the different injectors. The supercharger obviously is not hooked up, it's just passing air through, so there should be no real big complications, hopefully. There we go. Well, first of all, I've got the same problem. For some reason, it's not reading RPM. So I'm gonna plug the handheld in. I'm just gonna go through the wizard. See if I can get something to work here. Okay, I give up. I don't know. I don't know. Very frustrating. But I don't know. So, I'm going to contact Holley tomorrow, since apparently both of my ECUs now have problems since upgrading the firmware. It basically just says disabled on all of my inputs and outputs and have no RPM signal. So that sucks, but you know, I found somebody else on the internet who had the same issue, so maybe it's not just me. So I'll be back with you when I have more information. Okay, so the situation is this. This is the used ECU that I bought, sight unseen. Was told that it worked, but I didn't know, so I wanted to test it. Threw it in here, never got it to work. Come to find out, through just kind of some critical thinking, when you flash a tune onto these computers and it says to cycle the key, that doesn't mean to cut all of the power to the ECU, which is what I have here because everything's just kind of cobbled together. What they want you to do is cycle the key so that it can save the config without turning the computer off. Didn't do that. So just had this on brake cleaner. I haven't actually hooked up the fuel pump and everything yet, but it fired off on brake cleaner, so I'm assuming it's gonna run here in just a second. So this is testing my coil extension harness. This is testing my coils, my injectors, the supercharger hat, and basically most of my setup without the supercharger actually turning. And I'm just gonna check and make sure that this front cylinder gets hot. So let's make some noise. me feel good. Went through a lot of trouble trying to figure out why this damn ECU wouldn't work. And then I put the one that was in the car back on here and it didn't work either. And I started saying like, what? Did I corrupt it with a bad firmware? Like what the hell's going on? Come to find out, you just gotta follow the instructions correctly. So there we are. Everything sounded great. It came up the temperature, no problem. So we're on to the next step, which is putting it in the car.